everybody. Thank you for coming by to say hello on Christmas Day Eve. Before we actually get into the video, I need to give a big trigger warning. Okay, so please do not watch this video, any of it, if you might be triggered by topics such as self-harm, suicide attempts, hallucinations, delusions, and other sometimes graphic and unpleasant topics, because we're going to cover most of that in this video. And I'm being serious. I'm not trying to like hype it up or anything, but I really do not want to cause a single one of you any emotional distress. So please skip this video. The views don't matter to me. I don't care about the views. I just care about laying bare some of the truths that people would rather ignore when it comes to mental health and the treatment of such. But today we're covering some really dark stuff, so please just watch a different video. There's a video of me dancing with one of my stuffies. There's videos of Scout, and there's videos of the cats, and all that kind of stuff. So I just, please leave the video. That's my trigger warning. Way too long of a trigger warning if you ask me, but a trigger warning nonetheless. Now, I'm going to give another trigger warning later on in the video because I have something that I might show. I'm not sure yet. I'll decide during the editing process. But so first off, a very Merry Christmas to everybody. I've had an okay day today for the most part. I'm back on meds again, and they're really strong. They really knocked me out, but it's the first time I've been getting like actual sleep in weeks, so that was the good thing. The bad news is the last 2 weeks, I'd say the last month and a half, I've been dealing with a lot of deep depression and a lot of auditory and visual hallucinations. Sometimes the smelling one, I can't remember the word for that, but you smell something that isn't there. It was bad. I wasn't on my meds. It was getting worse and worse, and then almost exactly 2 weeks ago I completely broke down. Completely. And that's the reason why I've been gone for a little bit, is because I was being held. I'm dreaming of a white Christmas, just like the ones I used to know. Again, trigger warning, because now I'm going to go into detail about what happened so that people can understand the differences between each individual person dealing with mental health. We are not a one-size-fits-all. Mine is going to be completely different than someone even with the same diagnoses as myself. They will not manifest in the same way. They're different. So I'm giving my perspective, but I'm going to go into detail. So please just watch a different video, please, because this isn't for you. I don't want you to get hurt. So anyhow, I've been hearing command voices and hallucinating 2 particular hallucinations that I have that mix with the real world. One I call the Inside Out Man, another one I call the Yellow Man. They actually come from the hallucinations I had during my 20-day coma about 1.5 years ago. My lungs just almost quit. I almost died. It was bad, but those hallucinations from the post-ICU psychosis, I created an inside out man, and he's literally like, he's inside out. His skin is reversed on him, and he has an umbilical cord that raises up to the roof, and you have to tickle him to make him vomit milk to make him go away. I know how that sounds, but it's terrifying when you're really seeing it. And then there's Yellow Man, who's just this tall, ugly person. His skin is just made of like bark. It's yellow, and his nails are like made of human teeth, and it's just, I've been dealing with those a lot. And I didn't sleep for like 2 nights straight, and then it all came to a head. And I do have like a safety net, sort of, people I call or talk to whenever a situation is getting out of hand. And luckily I had the foresight to communicate with them. And but at that point I had already tried something. I was on the phone with the new 988 number, whatever the new suicide hotline is, and it was a terrible experience because I talked to them for like 20 minutes. We were getting into details. I was about to let them know where I was so they could come pick me up before I did something, and it cut out. The phone just cut out. So I tried contacting them again, but they said, we can't give you the person you had recently, but I'm here to help you. What can I do? And I'm just, no, I just spent 20 minutes with someone telling them about this. I'm not doing that. So I hung up, and I tried to overdose myself on respiratory depressant drugs, since I have such a weak respiratory system. That was my plan, but out of nervousness or something, I vomited them all up. So I come up with a new plan, and I wouldn't even call it a plan. It was more of a building delusion. And I'm not sure if y'all know the differences between hallucination and delusion, but hallucination, you can hear, see, smell things that are not there in the real physical world. But a delusion is a false belief of something, such as when I'm in an episode, I honestly believe that there is a dark demon inside of me, and that the only way to get rid of him is to bloodlet, like they did with leeches, except mine is much more extreme, and I have a roadmap on me to prove it. And that feeling began to grow after I vomited. It was like, see, the demon's not going to let you do these things until you cut him out. You have to cut him out, Daniel, cut him out. So I tried cutting him out, and I again, this is going to be detailed. I'm sorry. I just want to explain some things. That's all. So I tried to cut lengthwise my ulnar artery that's on your arm. You can see where the bandage is. I cut all the way to the muscle, but I couldn't get any deeper, and it goes. It's quite long, but ironically, my scar tissue from previous cuts saved me, because I couldn't cut past some of that scarred tissue. It was too tough, so I wasn't able to actually reach the artery. It's bleeding like crazy, but easily survivable. And at this point, I'm losing all patience. I'm losing all grip that I have on anything. It felt like I was walking down this hallway that continued to expand and extend. With every forward step I took, the hallway lengthened, and underneath is this heavy fog shielding where you place your feet. It's like you don't know where you are. You don't know how to get where you need to go. And all of the elements in this world are working together to keep you in the darkness, from which you think, or I thought at the time, there was only one escape. And it wasn't just a question of me wanting to escape. I was also being commanded, because the demon in my mind was still there. I hadn't bled him out enough. They're telling me, and then they're telling me that I need to jump from the bridge to stop it. And I know I may seem like a little disorganized right now, but trust me, what I am right now is a huge step forward improvement as to what I was 2 weeks ago. I was not okay. And so I'm walking towards this bridge in town. It's the biggest one we have. It's like 65 or 70 feet tall from the ground. You know. And I'm talking with my friend, and she is doing her best to keep me calm and keep me away from the bridge. And then another friend got contacted by another friend, and so I had 3 people telling me to get my ass back home in different ways. One was one of my friends. He is just such a gentle soul. He was telling me, you know, please turn around, go home, we can watch a movie together on the phone, or, you know, it's that's not what he said, but that was the kind of the attitude. He had a lot of love to give. Then there's my other friend, and she was the one saying, if you don't get your ass back down to your house where you belong, I'm going to kick it myself. And she's awesome, but that's how she carries it. And then there's the first one I was talking to, one of my oldest friends. I've known her since I was a wee lad. She looks at things logically, and so she knew my experience in the past with dealing with medical emergency services. So she knew I would not have the courage to call them and ask for help. I wouldn't. So she asked me where I was at, and I told her. But I told her at the same time, I'm already on the bridge, and I'm going over once I get over the top. I just wanted you to know, you know, I wanted to tell someone I loved them before I went over the edge. And I hung up the phone, and literally as I'm reaching the very top point of the bridge, there is an ambulance coming against traffic, and a cop coming from behind with traffic, trying to reach me at the same time on the bridge. I'm gonna walk this piece of wood because I like a white piece of wood. I'm a piece of wood. No. So I throw my backpack down. I grab my phone because I really thought this is it. And I called my friend again to say goodbye. And instead, in the confusion, I pressed record. So I ended up audio recording some of this on accident. Basically, once they they jumped out of their vehicles, I jumped onto the actual like ledge of the bridge, and he said when I listened to the audio, he says he just wants to talk, and I'm like, no man, I'm good. There's too many, I can't handle it. And then you hear me start to push myself off the bridge, and I did. And the EMS guy, and someone else on my right, I don't know, between my ponytail and my armpits, they were able to keep my body back on the bridge by pulling me over, because I went, like I slid off, and they caught me. and you can hear it, like the fighting, like, because I'm struggling against them, trying to keep going over. And finally, I'm just laying on my back, looking up at the sky, and I am devastated. I am devastated that these honorable professionals who saved my life, I feel devastated that they did that. I had reached a point of no return. I just I could not see the harm, the consequences of what might happen if I had succeeded, because unknown to me, just a few days later, a very close family member died. And that would have been 2 deaths that my folks would have had to deal with in a single week. And people say these actions are selfish. I will agree and disagree. They're selfish if by you mean we don't think about the repercussions, thus only thinking about what we need at that moment in time. But that does not make us selfish people. Those of us who have reached that limit before just don't see anything else. That's all that matters, is ending this and stopping it. You don't know it unless you've been in it. It's not selfish. And hell, I'd argue forcing someone to live a miserable, painful, loveless, lifeless life just so you can keep them in your life, I would call that a little selfish. Probably gonna get torn apart in the comments for that one, but I'm just tired of being called selfish because I have an illness that I cannot control, and it's bigger than me. It's stronger than me. It's heavier than me. It's better than me. And I need all the help I can get. So yeah, you hear them on the radio talking, and they're like, hey, Daniel, man, you can't do that. That's not cool. Yes, the emergency services in town, most of them know me by now. And he was like, Daniel, that's not cool, bro. You can't be jumping off bridges in front of me. That's not cool. And then you hear me, and it does not sound like me. It sounds like a completely different person. I am like begging him to let me die. Like, please, please. I just wanted this to end. It hurts my stomach to hear me sound like that. It hurts everything to hear me sound like that. And I never want to sound like that again. Ever. I want to do things right for once. So yeah, I want to do things right for once, and to actually give myself a chance to really get better, because even though I've been trying, I haven't really been trying. I've been doing what I'm told, but then I don't do it on my own, and I lapse in taking my medications. And I had a really good heart-to-heart with one of the police officers. He ended up being the one that transferred me from the emergency room hospital to the secure mental health facility that I was put into with a warrant for my own safety, obviously. But you know, they took care of me there on the bridge, and I tried 3 times that night, and something got in the way each time. I don't talk about my own spiritual beliefs on here, because that's not what this channel is about. I respect everyone's religious beliefs. I respect them, and I'm so happy for people that have that in their lives, because I see the genuine joy it gives them, and I want that joy in my life somehow. Just joy, you know? Do you remember being happy, what it felt like? Because I don't. I remember what it is, but I don't remember what it feels like. Anyhow, they took care of me on the bridge. They were really good. They got the bleeding stopped. It ended up, and then we're in the ambulance, and they're taking real good care of me. It took them an ultrasound to get an IV in me because my arms are just scarred completely up and down. We're not talking little cuts. We're talking deep, ugly, fat scars on my arm. But they finally got the IV in, and I had a good heart-to-heart with that cop. And I told him, you know, it's just going to be the same thing. You guys are going to lock me in somewhere, and I'm going to get out, and I'll be better for a week, and then I'll fall off the cliff again. And he told me, well, what are you doing? Is there something you can do different that might help? And I decided, why not? This man just saved my life. I could probably just be honest with him. So I said, you know what? I downplay things. I downplay them to everyone, especially in the mental hospital. I downplay what's happening because I fear, if I'm honest, I will be held there longer and longer and longer. And skipping ahead, just so you know, that's exactly what happened. Usually people stay for like 3 to 5 to 7 days, 7 being the longest. I was there for 11 days and 7 hours because I was honest. But yeah, I told him I'm not honest with that stuff because I don't want to be held there longer. And he was like, well, Daniel, that's it, man. They can't help you unless you tell them what's wrong. And it reminded, I had a letter I wrote to Mr. Chris at one point, and I brought that point up myself, that I could scream to the heavens, but no one's going to help if they can't hear me. I have to vocalize what is going on. So I made a deal with him that I would be completely open with them if he agreed not to handcuff me on the transport from the hospital to the mental health wing place in Austin. It's like a hour and 20-minute drive from my hometown where I live. And he agreed. So at the ER, I was completely honest. I told them what was going on to the best of my ability. I was still really agitated, still confused and upset and scared, and they gave me 2 shots trying to calm me down. It sort of worked, didn't work, but it worked enough to where I could stop shaking, because I had been shaking for like an hour and a half straight. You know, a mix of just adrenaline, blood loss, and psychosis created just a perfect storm of, how am I supposed to live through this 1 second at a time? But I did. And what made this trip different is, in the past, usually at the hospital, you get someone that sits in the corner of your room staring at you and they never say a fucking word. This time I got a wonderful, kind, supportive woman. She was all about faith in God. And like I said, I'm not going into that, but I felt her strength and her conviction, and she showed me such kindness. And just so you know, I happen to smoke cigarettes. I'm getting off of them. I know how unhealthy they are, especially for my lungs. But usually, hospital regulation, you cannot smoke. And of course, that's still the regulation. But I've been there so many times and walked out, but came back, that they trusted me this time. Because I told her, hey, I'm going to go outside and have a smoke. I know you can't physically stop me. She's like, don't do it, please. I have to call my boss. I was like, is it Steph? And she was like, yeah. I was like, call her. And sure enough, she calls the head nurse. And the head nurse says, okay, just, no, you don't need security. Just watch him. He'll come back. He always does. So it was weird. Like, this experience from the start of being honest with the police and being honest with the hospital staff, things were a little different. Like, I felt a difference in the situation. I was still struggling in a pit of despair, but the wheels were turning in my head at the possibilities of maybe I could be happy, maybe I could be productive, maybe I could be a man again. And I don't mean you're man. I mean just a man. Someone who could be relied upon, someone who can be there for people when they need me and not me needing them. I want to give. I don't want to take. I want to love someone with every ounce of my being. But that's not going to happen until I find a way to love this mess in front of you right now. So yeah, I get picked for one of the hospitals. Officer transports me, not handcuffed this time, which was awesome. And he let me have one more smoke before we went in. And a lot of stuff happened inside that facility this time around. Like, really not cool stuff. Some rather fun. I started a religion in there, though, to try and get them to allow people to smoke. But I'll do all that in the next video. I'll describe in detail the actual daily occurrences of this particular mental health facility. But what I really wanted to talk about here is how quickly things can spiral. Because 2 days before I had done a workout, I felt good for a little bit. I thought, I felt a little hope. And within 2 days, I was attempting suicide. And these were not, just... I think any attempt should be taken absolutely 100% seriously. There are some out there who say that people do it for attention. I say when it comes to someone's life, take it seriously, even if you don't want to. And I was dead serious each time. The first time when I took the respiratory drugs, absolutely a lethal dose. Vomited it up. Then I decided that I would cut through my artery, and I cut down to the actual muscle. I was trying to get to the artery. I failed because my scarred tissue protected me. And then I went for the bridge. And for the second time, I went off a bridge, only to have freakishly strong athletic people pull me back up. And at that moment, I was... honestly, I didn't know what to do. I was just laying on my back, the whole left side covered in blood, and just crying because I needed it to be over. And that stuff is really hard to do on your own. And it is difficult for me to reach out to people when I get in those kinds of places, when I see what I see or hear what I hear. It's, some of my poetry gets... In fact, I'm going to include a poem in the description that I just wrote today. Some of it's kind of dark and disturbing, but that's because that's where my mind goes a lot. Sometimes it's something very simple, like it would look like this harmonica right here. Sometimes it'll look like it's just sliding across the table for no reason if I watch it, but it stays in its place, but it's sliding. It's very confusing for my brain. Or it'll, like a mouth will appear in it, and it'll just start licking its lips as the harmonica. Or I would have the inside out man sitting in a particular corner of this greenhouse. And not only do I see him, I can hear the dripping, like, gore and milk coming from the ceiling where his umbilical cord is tied up. This kind of stuff, especially when you don't have medication to assist you, can turn your life upside down. So I just wanted everyone to know why I was gone, what happened, and just be as honest and as pointed as possible, because I shouldn't be here today. But something refused to let me let go. I'm sorry to all of you that I quit fighting. I'm sorry that I gave up. I'm sorry. But I'm still here. Even if I don't want to be half of the time, even if it's too much half the time. I think of all the people that have come together to help me, and I am so thankful. But I hate myself so much. Okay, yeah, well, that's it for this video. I know it's super long, but I wanted to give as much detail as possible and to let y'all really see and hear and feel what I went through. Shoot, I don't know if I'm going to include that clip or not. You know, I am, at least a small portion of it, because I want y'all to hear the child that I was in that moment, defeated beyond comprehension by the universe, beaten down by everything, having nothing to hold on to. I want you to hear that in my voice, because we need to recognize that that is the danger for all of us who deal with mental health. If we don't take it seriously and do what we need to do to take care of ourselves, we end up in that place, and I want you to hear it. But other than that, I hope y'all had a wonderful Christmas. This is not a good Christmas video. I'm sorry, but it's not. Thank y'all for being awesome, and I really appreciate each and every single one of you. Thank you for being my friends, and have a Merry Christmas. Okay, trigger warning, because I'm about to play the clip, which could be disturbing to you. If you don't want to hear that, please stop the video now. Thank you for dropping by Mr. Rogers' neighborhood, and I will talk to you again soon about what happened in the actual facility. Bye for now.
There's way too many voices. Hey, buddy. I don't. Hey, we're good. Daniel, hey, buddy.
Daniel.
You can't do that, bro.
You good, bro? Come on.
Stop.
Daniel.
Okay, buddy. We can help you, but you can't be trying to climb off a bridge in front of me, dog. That's not cool. Yeah, I'm sorry, man. We had to. He was jumping.
Daniel.
Yeah.
Let us help you, okay? Please.
You come get my.
Getting help, it keeps getting worse.
I know. I talked to you before, okay?
Can I see where you're bleeding at, dog?
Yeah, he did get himself good.
Grab me some 4x4s, some sterols, and Curlix, please.
Daniel, you know when you need help, you call us, okay? That's what we're here for.
I fucking hate this.
I know.
Hello again. In the interest of laying it all out there, another reason why I stayed at the facility for 11 and a half days was not only simply because of my attempts previously, but while I was in their custody, I was still really out of it, and I physically ripped out 8 of my 19 staples they put in my arm because I thought there was a hand trying to come out from my arm. So that's another reason they had a shadow on me 24/7 because of things like that. So yeah, that was just another reason why I got kept there so long. And I did. I tore him out. And of course, another reason I had to stay. I'm sorry, these memories just keep coming back to me. I have pseudo seizures, which basically not enough blood goes to my head, my brain, and I will suddenly faint. I could be standing, walking, whatever. I will drop, and I hit the hell at the back of my head on the table and got 4 stitches back there. But it's a fainting followed by seizure-like activity. It's not a true seizure, and I still have to go to a specialist later this week with a neurologist, but that was another reason they wanted to keep an eye on me, is because I had 2 of those events while I was there, and that just means the events are increasing in frequency. It used to be like maybe 1 a month, then it turned into 2 or 3 a month, and now it's like once a week. So yeah, okay, I think that's it for memories. Mr. Spider-Man here does not particularly like to walk, so I take him for walks with me. You wanna say hi, buddy? No? No saying hi?
Hello, I'm Spider-Man.
Every man has
Spider-Man,
to die.
Spider-Man.
But it's written in the stars.
Thank you so much for saying such a ridiculously beautiful thing to me. Thank you for your words. And I wanted to let you know that those texts that you sent me when I was in my comatose state, I kept and saved because you were the only one to text me. My brother